You're off.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order, the Monday, October 25th, 2021 meeting of the Boards of Directors, Costa Mesa Sanitary District regular meeting. Well, roll call, please. Let's see. We do the Pledge of Allegiance first. I just saw the word call down there. Okay, place your hand over your heart and follow me, please. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mike, would you do the invocation, please?
Yes, thank you. This evening, we ask your guidance in this meeting. Again, as I normally ask for guidance in making sure we make the best decisions for all involved. Please also don't unleash the ark yet. I talked to someone in Sacramento today, and she said logs were floating down the Sacramento River, which is probably the first step to unleashing the ark. But be mindful and be with all those folks that are getting stuck by this cyclonic bomb or whatever it's called. And hopefully they're all safe. Amen.
Thank you, Mike. Now we can do a roll call, please.
Robert Uten,
Here.
Mike Schaefer,
Here.
Arlene Schaefer,
Here.
Art Perry,
Here.
and Brett Eccles.
Here.
Thank you.
Gina, do we have any announcement of late communications?
Yes, Mr. President, we did receive one written communication, Mr. Mosier's, which you should have a copy of his communications before you, and we'll also make copies to the public.
Have you reviewed it, and do you have any comments?
No, I don't have any comments unless you have any specific questions or directions to staff.
Any other late communications or any of the, I guess we can go down to public comment. We don't have any ceremonial matters or presentations that I'm aware of. So are there any in the public that wishes to speak tonight? Seeing none, we'll go on down to the consent calendar. Does any director have any need to discuss one of these items by pulling it? Or do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Or any abstentions? Whatever that word is.
People who sit out.
Hmm? I don't believe there are any public hearings. To go down to general manager's reports. First one is an award to an Autumn Alvarez, the accounting clerk, for $150 for her idea for improving accounts payable efficiencies. And I hope that means we're going to save more money in the solid waste budget.
No, not quite, Mr. President, and good evening, board of directors. This idea was submitted by one of our employees, Autumn Alvarez, in the finance department. This is part of our rewarding ideas program, where it encourages employees to submit ideas to either save the district money or improve efficiencies within the organization. This idea that Ms. Alvarez submitted really is to improve efficiencies in our accounts payable. Where right now we don't have a centralized location where when we receive our invoices and our bills from our vendors, there's no one place where they go. Sometimes they'll go to several of our employees in the finance department. And then what could happen is we get duplicate work from our staff because they might not know what the other staff's doing. It could, as a result of not having a centralized location, the timeliness of paying our bills could be in effect, which could result in late fees. So what Ms. Alvarez suggested was creating a centralized location, basically an email. Well, everyone would just email their invoice. When we get the invoices from our vendors, we just email it directly to that centralized email where it goes to one location, and that's where the finance department would get the invoices, and they would log in the accounts payable and then begin the process for payment. So staff is recommending that Ms. Alvarez be awarded $150 for her idea. and seeking board approval on this item.
Any discussion by board members?
Mr. President, just a question general on our accounts payable. So vendor electronically will submit an invoice today. Where does that go today?
Today, it can go to anywhere. It can go to any one of our employees.
Okay, so this idea was basically having an AP at CMSD. Okay. And then what about the hard copy, the old traditional mailed
We
invoices?
still receive those, and that would still go to one centralized box, which would go to Autumn in her inbox. So that still goes to one location. We
But
don't-
that, the hard copy is one location. It's the electronics that
Correct.
this solves.
Yes.
Good idea. Thank you.
A quick question. How does the vendor know where to send it? If it's going to everybody,
Vendor will send it to the project manager, and the project manager here will could send it to one of the employees at the district.
okay,
So it's really improves efficiency here in our operation. So the employees will know directly where to send that invoice.
got it. Okay. I will move for approval of awarding Autumn Alvarez $150 for her idea.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item number 2, revised bylaws for CSDA. And direct the general manager to vote yes on behalf of Costa Mesa Sanitary District approving the bylaws update. Any discussion by any of the board members?
Just a quick question, and I'm not trying to usurp anybody's authority, but why are we designating the general manager when normally something like this would be a vote from the board president? Is there some distinction between the,
No, not necessarily. It's just CSC doesn't require something from the board president. Just staff is want a decision made by the agency, and since we are a member of CSDA, which is the board's decision to become a member of CSDA, that's why we bring it before you for your direction or your action to vote yes or no, and then just give staff the authority to say yes, and just click yes.
yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of things we get where the board president has to either do it or designate someone to do it.
Because I think some of those, it does require that, like, I think you might be considering like LAFCO, which would
Yeah.
require the board president to vote on behalf of the district. In this case, it's not required.
Okay, and again, I completely, I mean, I don't have a problem with you voting for it. It's just the difference is kind of, I'd be curious. So, okay.
Mr. President, just a question, I guess, for Secretary Schaefer. You're our representative, correct, for CSDA? So I assume you've been a part of this discussion to review the bylaws and all that?
Mhm.
And are you generally in favor of the changes?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
I think we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you.
Claire, did we hit, who moved the item?
That you did.
You did. No, I moved for Autumn Alvarez. I don't think we did a motion in a second. on
Okay,
this.
well, we need someone to
I'll make a motion to accept the
And I'll second it.
recommendations.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 3, consider appointing one new member to the CAC committee to fill a vacant 1-year term ending in March 2022.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we do have a vacancy on our Citizens Advisory Committee. We did receive 4 applicants to fill that position, and those applications are in your agenda packet. I think there's been some discussion among the board members of how many CAC members live within their district. And so we have those numbers for you right now. And I guess it's called Division 1, which is Vice President Schaefer's. There are 4 CAC members in that division. In that division. And Division 2, Director Eccles, there are 2 CAC members. President Uten, Division 3, there are 2 CAC members. Division 4 and Director Perry, there are 0 members.
Hmm.
And then District 5, or Division 5 under Secretary Schaefer, there are 2 CAC members. Now, if you're wondering,
Did you say 3 for me?
No, 5. There's two, I'm sorry, your Division 5, there are 2 CAC members in your division.
They're telling me 3.
Verified it, there's 2. In the, if you want to hear, if it cares where the applicants, where they live, Ben Chapman, he lives in Division 1, in Vice President Schiffer's division. Rana Bloom is in Division 2, in Director Eccles' division. Jacqueline Inciso is Division 2, in Director Eccles' division. And Rosemary Cora is in Division 4, Director Perry's division. So if that helps with your decision making.
I'd like to nominate Rosemary Cora. So I have somebody in my district.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
I'll second it.
I mean, I've read all of these. They're all great candidates. They really are. It's probably the best group of accumulation of 4 that I've seen, but I think it's important that we get somebody in my district.
Any discussion?
If I may,
Sure.
I just offer a substitute motion. I generally agree with Director Perry, but I believe Mr. Chapman has volunteered. This is his second time. Do you know that? Because the last time we had an opening, I believe.
That's correct.
Okay.
I think he was there the second.
Okay. I would just offer a substitute motion because that's someone who's obviously stuck with it for at least 2 times. So I would just offer Mr. Ben Chapman.
There a second for that? And motion failed. Do any of the other directors have input or?
Did we get a second on my motion or not?
Yeah, I seconded it.
Okay, on the first motion, then all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Motion carries. Next item is item number 4, receive and file the first quarter budget review.
Thank you, Mr. President. Caitlin Tran will be giving this report.
Can't hear you.
Good evening, Mr. President and members of the board. In front of you is the first quarter budget review for fiscal year 2021-22. Based on the limited spending trends through September 30th, staff is projecting the solid waste fund to have a savings of $183,000. And the wastewater fund is projected to meet the budgeted amount at fiscal year end. Please note that projections with only 3 months or less of activity as the basis should not be relied upon. As the year progresses, these projections become more precise. As of September 30th, a total of 23.1% of the solid waste budget and a total of 21.8% of the wastewater fund operating budget has been expended. As for revenue, as of September 30th, the district has yet to receive any apportionments from the annual assessment for the fiscal year. The first apportionments should begin in November. Please see attached report for more detailed analysis, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any of the board members?
I have a question for Scott. Did we apply for any of the money from the COVID relief?
Other than what finance submitted for the, we can't, correct me if I'm wrong, Kelly, I don't think we can apply for the 2, there was 2 fundings available, one through FEMA and then one through, there was another.
SDRMA.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, CSDA.
And I don't think we could we apply to both or just one? I think we could.
We did, but anything that we apply for FEMA and if we receive money for that, then CSDA will not fund that or grant us more money on the same item. So at this point, we don't know, we don't have an answer for if they approve our applications yet, or how much we should receive yet.
Is there a deadline for them to give us the direction if we're going to receive it or not?
I believe for FEMA, it's December, the end of December.
Yeah, I'm confused a little bit, which is normal. I mean, it's okay. On what grounds does FEMA, I don't remember seeing FEMA's requirements, or what are they basing their decision on? In other words, what loss did we sustain in order to be able to apply for a FEMA grant or funding?
We applied for materials, cleaning supplies,
PPE?
yes, and for mileage for the guys to drive separately, stay away from each other. So there's additional cost for their for mileage. So for that, it's very minimal. And another item that we apply for, which we just we're not sure if we're gonna get award for it. The tonnage for CRNR increased a lot more due to the stay at home, the work from home. So it generated more tonnage, and so we apply for that. But FEMA, they don't award for operations. They consider that as part of operations. So, but the FEMA representative said, just give it a shot. So we apply for that.
I'm glad to hear that. I mean, those are reasonable expectations of us exceeding what we would normally spend on those things. So I appreciate that. On the one for the operations with the tonnage, that would simply be mixed waste. It's not organic tonnage, I would assume. Maybe, is that right, Mike? I'm addressing my question to Mike Carey from CRR. Is that true, Mike? Organics wouldn't be considered that. Okay. Thank you, Caitlin. That's
Caitlin, I have another question, if it's okay. The CSDA grant, is there a max that we can receive, or is that the better way to go?
At this point, they're just accepting applications and they don't know how they're distributing their funding yet. They want to see how many special district going to apply and how much each district is asking for. So they gave us 15 days from October 1st to 15 to submit an application. And then after that, I guess they maybe didn't receive many applications. So now they're sending it to the end of the month, the end of October, for more applications to come in. So at this point, I don't have an answer. But we did apply.
I just want to say that they have to see too if you qualify or not. You know, some people could apply, but they don't meet the specific, what they need.
I'm thinking that CSDA we would probably apply, be able to accept the grant, I would think. From the things I've been to, the different meetings I've been to, that we should, we have a good chance of receiving some. But we'll see.
Caitlin, a question on the savings on the part-time code enforcement officer that is currently open. I'm assuming we're working to fill that. How will that affect the salary savings we're seeing today?
For the code enforcement, David Griffin is performing the work. So the saving is not much because we're paying him at the rate of paying him for doing the code enforcement work. So really the saving is in his facility maintenance position.
But if we hire someone different, is that going to, I assume that would impact this projected savings? Or would it?
It wouldn't, because the new person will pick up the work and David will stop the acting of code enforcement.
Okay, all right.
And if I mean, we're still trying to decide if this code enforcement position should be part-time or full-time due to 1383. So that's why we're not actively seeking to fill this position at this point. So we will come back with the board with our analysis and a recommendation and get direction from the board if you want to hire a full-time code enforcement officer.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Caitlin.
Did we budget left over? It goes back to probably, whatever fund CIP was funded out of. And then we come back, but staff has actually opened up new projects and decided where to put that money. And we don't have, the board doesn't have any idea about what the budget is for that project.
I think you're referring to the project in Costa Mesa, or I'm sorry, the Newport Beach project.
No, I may be on the wrong item, but there was a whole list of, this is the carryovers. So most of the carryovers are in the CIP area.
Right.
And so there was at least 3 or 4 of them. I don't have it right in front of me now. 3 or 4 of them, like the Eldon Avenue Force Main. It was a couple $100,000 apparently. I think the project's done, and the money that was left over was allocated to 2 new projects.
Well, there's one new project that we're going to talk about later this afternoon.
And that is one of the
report.
projects.
It's one, and Mark Esser is going to give you more information about that project and why we have to do this project now.
Yeah, I'm not, the money would eventually go to those projects, but I think it would be better to complete the project, put those funds back in the asset management fund, if that's where they came from, create a new project, create a budget. The money's still going to be similar. It may not be, but I think it'd be less confusing if staff didn't get to choose where that money went. Anyway, there's a little chart in there, and there's probably 10 CIP projects, and 2 or 3 of them have money apparently left over. The project is completed, and staff has designated where that money goes. And that's my question. I'm not sure that's appropriate.
Yeah, and let me add to that, President Newton, is it other than the new project 340, which we'll be talking about this evening, the other 3 actually are going to existing projects that are already budgeted and have been approved by the board of directors, and the budgets have been approved by the boards of directors. We're just moving extra funds to that. Caitlin, you want to add anything to that?
Yes, if I may. Gina, I think President Newton is referring to attachment A. If you want to open attachment A, and some of these funds that are moving money to, so continuing, I'm moving money into projects that are in phase 2, continuing the work of previous phase that we completed. It's not like moving into a brand new project. It's phased because some of the projects we split into phases.
Okay, and I'll check further. If that's the case, if it's just a different phase of the same project, it probably still warrants some explanation because phase two is a different project than phase one, although it is under the same heading. I can't quite read that up there. I need to go to my optometrist, but 340 is a brand new project and it is on the agenda for discussion. Anyway,
Mm.
I'll still be thinking about it.
Yeah, as an example, the ductile iron pipe rehab project 328, President Newton, we want to move some monies over. And for example, in phase one, we weren't sure what kind of bid prices we were going to get. And so when the previous district engineer developed the project, they guessed at how many of these ductile iron pipes we could rehab. Well, based on the bidding environment, we got all of them done. And so there was money left over in phase one. We want to move it over. And the reason for that is because we have more ductile iron projects on our list than we have budget for. So by moving that from phase one to subsequent phases, we think it'll help us get all the ductile iron projects done. So that's why we're doing that. But again, I guess, I'm not sure what we want to do about that sub item D, the one on the bottom, but we will be talking about it. I'm happy to go over the budget with you. And I do have a budget slide to provide you for that project.
Okay, well, I don't want to belabor it, but why, if it's just the second phase of the same project, why in this, does it have to have a new number?
I don't believe that the phases constitute a different project number. It's the same project
Okay,
number. Am I
well-
wrong? Am I wrong, Caitlin? So like go ahead.
In the past, we kept the same number, but I can create a new number if that's easier to.
No, I'm not asking for that. I don't want to belabor it. So let's go on and we can discuss this more later.
And President, if you want to look at the whole budget for each of these projects under engineer, the monthly CIP report, it should be there.
Well, I also looked at that and the numbers that are listed for projects here are substantially different than the balance on those projects. So, let's do this at a separate time, but go ahead, Director Eccles.
A couple questions. Well, first, what's the OPEB actuarial?
Every 2 years, we hire a consultant to do an actuarial report for the district for other pension employee benefit. And last year or fiscal year 2021, they didn't have to do a whole complete report. So there's some savings in that budget. And then also they didn't send their invoice in time before we close the book. So we charge it to this year budget. So I'm asking to move that budget over to cover for the invoice and also the savings to cover for some unanticipated costs for the IT forensic and security upgrades that we're planning to do soon.
Gotcha. Okay. And then, so if I understand correctly, these amounts, kind of following on President Uten, but these amounts are carryover in terms of real dollars from last 2-year budget.
Yep.
These projects are ongoing. We're not adjusting this year's budget. We're just simply funding it through cash.
Yeah.
Carrying,
Yeah.
perfect. All right. Then the audio visual, which we're fortunate enough to be in here with the new technology. So is this a similar thing where we just didn't get this invoice in time. There's not additional work to be done, is there?
No, these are purchase orders. So the encumbrances are purchase orders that projects we didn't complete before the fiscal year end. So now they're, I believe the audio completed in August or September. So now we have to carry over that balance so that we can pay for them for the invoice in August, September.
Okay, and then, and maybe Colin, you could stop me if I'm going out of order, but I know we've talked about the Newport project coming up. One of these encumbrances, we're gonna shift the funds potentially, if the board goes this direction, from last year's project to this new Newport project. Is that, okay. So the monies that was designated under the last budget, we're no longer using that money for that specific project? Okay,
Correct. There's a balance left over in that project, still approved, that the allotted amount is still approved in the budget. So there's no additional allotted amount. What we're saying is that a new project came to our attention.
Mhm.
We don't have to appropriate new money to this project. We can use existing adopted money from a project that we have a balance from. We can just shift that money over to that project.
and that balance was because we came in under budget on that project.
Correct.
Once again, great job, Mark. All right, that's all I had for right now. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Is this, let's see, carryover, so this has to
Action item. Yes.
be approved. Do I have a motion to approve the carryover?
I'll move for approval of the carryovers.
I'll
And-
second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We're going to item number 6.
Just clarification. The motion was to carry over appropriations. Don't we have to have a separate motion for the encumbrances?
I'll amend my motion to include the encumbrances.
I'll also second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Item number 6, receive and file the annual performance measurement report, third quarter. Do any of the directors have any discussion? Receive and file, so we'll deem it received and filed. Item number 7 is receive and file the strategic plan quarterly update for first quarter. Do any of the directors want to discuss this item or need to discuss it?
Unless Scott has something to different.
No,
Okay.
I'll be able to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. And then that, we'll deem that received and filed. Receive and file CRNR's benchmark measure progress report. Scott, do you want to lead the discussion or?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. So this was, we typically present the data to you at your study session meetings, but as you might recall, we didn't have the data, was not available. So that's why we're discussing it tonight. So there are 8 measures that the board approved to engage in CRNR's level of service to determine, come in January, determine if they meet the objectives of the board to give them a rate adjustment. So this is in the first 3 months when we're going based on July through December of 2021. So before you are the first 3 months from July through September. And as you can see, it's highly unlikely that they're going to probably achieve item number 2, which is reduce public complaints regarding mixed waste or organic carts not being emptied during the regular scheduled day by 50%. The goal was to go have 174 or less complaints. And the first 3 months, we're already up at 165. So it's probably highly unlikely they're going to probably achieve that benchmark. Other benchmarks they are achieving, we'll go back to average, I'll go back to number 1, Again, this is kind of beyond their control because of the chip that we're seeing in all the new production of vehicles, including heavy-duty vehicles. So we're looking at getting new refuse trucks in February 2022. And that's nothing beyond our control. Item number 3, they are achieving that benchmark so far. It was to notify staff, 95% of the chance to notify staff of delays or any kind of issues with their services, and they are achieving that benchmark. The Christmas tree recycling program, you'll get a report on that on your December study session. They're working on a plan, so we'll present that to you at your study session. Item number 5, the signage is on our refuse trucks. That is complete, so that benchmark is achieved. Item number 6, we still don't have all the data on this item. We're hoping to get it by November, and we can get you the 3 months worth of data in November. Item number 7, nothing new to report on this, on the transfer station. My understanding, they're still in discussions with the city of Newport Beach, so we have no timeline on this at this item. And then item number 8, they have attended all of our meetings, so they are achieving this benchmark. So as you see, some they're doing well, and some they're still have some progress to be made. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
A quick question. Let's go back to number 2. So in September, they had 94 complaints. I'm sorry, July, there were 94 complaints. In September, there were 35. So we are seeing substantial progress on reduction in complaints.
Well, I was hoping September would be lower than August, in my opinion. So it's pretty much the same as August. In my opinion, there's no change from August.
But I'm compared to July.
Yeah, I think July was a kind of an anomaly.
Okay.
You know.
I'm personally, I'm glad to see, I'm going to use, because we started in July. I'm glad to see 94 down to 35. I think that's a remarkable.
Still higher than we're typically used to. Because typically we
Okay.
usually get maybe 60 complaints in a year, and now we're
That was prior to COVID, though.
yeah.
So I'm looking at the glass half full, and you're looking at the glass half empty, or what? Which is okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But to me, it's better to see it going this way than this way or that way. So there was a TV commercial, E.F. Hutton, I think it was. When E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen. To me, this is indicative of CRNRs at least listening to what we had to say to see this kind of improvement. So I think that's commendable. Just my humble opinion.
President, can I make a question to Mike Carey? Mike, do you know about the progress of purchasing the trucks for this next year?
Good question.
Yes, we have ordered the trucks. I think it says in your staff report, they're scheduled to be delivered in February. So we're in the queue. We're ready to provide those new vehicles for you.
Additional question about drivers. Are we in good shape for drivers now?
Better shape for drivers. We've just recently hired 12 new drivers. We do still have some open positions available. As you all are reading the news, drivers are
Right.
extremely difficult to hire in every sector of the supply chain right now.
Are
but
those
we're-
drivers that are not, that we have openings for, are they in Costa Mesa or throughout the CRNR?
Throughout the company, we don't have 12 new drivers just for Costa Mesa, but we do have new drivers that have been allocated to Costa Mesa.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Scott, question, if I heard you correctly, which was going to be my first question anyway, on item number 2, the complaints, did I hear you correctly that in the average year, about 60 for the year? Okay, so, and I agree with Vice President Schaefer, we love going downward, so I'm happy about that, but we're still not there yet, because just my simple P-brain math comes up with, if you go 35 a month, it's over 210 for the year. That's significantly higher. And, so we definitely need to, see further trends downward, because 35, still 35 missed complaints. So hopefully we see a further downward trend and we can evaluate that. But Has there been a response as to, okay, out of those 35 or 70 approximately for the last 2 months, is it, what's driving, what's CRR&R, what's the driving force behind those misses?
I think it's, and Mike can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the same as usual. It's drivers, unavailable, breakdown in units.
Okay.
Well, nothing's changed as far as the cause.
Now, if I remember correctly from our study session, at least the communication from CRR&R staff on those has improved
Yes.
pretty well.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so at least we're aware of this. Okay. And then so the Newport transfer station, it's in the city of Newport's hands, if I understand correctly.
Yes, it's, well, there's still negotiations going on between the two agencies over the scales. Also, the Newport Beach is going to be kicking off their 1383 program as well, and so it's a huge change of behavior in that community that they're not been used to before. So I think the city's a little reluctant right now until they get a better handle on 1383. So I think that plays an issue into the decision. But my understanding that the scales were the issue, but I've heard they resolved that. But right now they're just hesitant to do anything until they get a better handle on 1383.
Okay, and then last question on the Christmas tree collection, or it's more of a request. So you have this for our December 14th study session. Is there a chance we can get this in November? Because December 14th, that's like right before the holiday, and as I'm sure you all, but last Christmas, even right as I got officially seated here, I was getting complaints nonstop. And if we have the information ahead of schedule of December 14th, it would sure be nice to see the plan to where we could be a little bit more proactive. Is that possible?
Sure, it's possible, but it also depends how long do you want, how late do you want to stay? Because that study session is planned for a very busy study session. I've got the results of the citizen survey is going to be presented on that. I also believe possibly, I think what else is there? There were some big items on there. I think there was some big discussion, and so if you're okay staying a little bit longer, that's fine. That's why I was putting it off, because it was just some big items we had to talk about.
What about our November board meeting?
Yeah.
That would still give us several weeks prior to Christmas to see what's coming, and hopefully that would be my request if everyone agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
I
you.
have another question too. Are we already working on the plan with CRNR?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the plan is in progress already. So as soon as we get the information, the better, you know?
Director Eccles, I think you asked where the transfer station was. It's in the Newport Beach courtyard.
Right in Superior, where Pomona,
You forget.
where Pomona hits Superior, it's right there.
And we've been talking about this for 6 or 7 years, I think. It's not going to happen, especially with 1383 coming in. It was just an idea we had that we could use that yard to, instead of having it take it back to Stanton, they could drop it there and save time.
And that's what Newport Beach presently does.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, it's my turn, okay?
Former Mayor Schaefer, would you?
I've been waiting my turn. President had okayed it.
We need to be more
And everybody
assertive.
got in front of me? Okay. So anyway, I just wanted to say that in my area, College Park area and around there, that actually at one time the driver had gotten hurt. And so this is why I talked to him and he has said that now he's back and he's okay. But I just want to compliment how they're really getting out early in the morning now and starting to do things. The only thing that I have against what's happening still is they don't flip those lids. And I thought we were going to take care of that because, you know, all the birds come, the animal, you know, it's just ridiculous because I look down my street and here's all these lids, especially the organics that haven't been flipped back. And so they have to learn how to do that.
Yeah,
So we might take that back.
I've noticed that around my area also, but it is it is one particular driver. So
That's all I have
there's
to
an
say.
opportunity there because I watched the mixed waste carts, the driver puts it down and then moves it over. And I think the organic driver is a little faster. But- So you have an opportunity there, Mike. Any other questions on this item?
Mixed weight lids are a lot. It's gonna sound like I'm making a joke, but I'm not. The mixed waste lids, the light green ones, are heavier on those little cans than they are than almost the lids on the. Is that, I mean, am I right? Can you talk to my wife about that concept?
I think you want those lids heavier on the organics. though.
That's what I think. I believe it or not, that's what I thought. Because you get a better seal and yeah.
We can give you a thinner one if you'd like.
Just for
I'm just
you.
joking. I can't get
You
it.
get your own light one.
What I have is just fine. Don't mess with it. And I'm starting not to put palm fronds in there, okay? All right.
Okay, if there are no further questions, we'll go on.
Engineers.
Engineers.
What item are we on?
F.
F. Okay, engineers reports. Mark, you're going to give us a presentation on the receive and file item?
Don't have. Sorry, President Newton. No, I don't need to do that, but certainly if you'd like me to speak briefly, or if you have any questions or comments or concerns, I'm happy to go over that with you now.
I've got President's Pump Station. Are we finished with that now or?
No. Would you like more information?
That's good. Because that's the big one in my area.
Did they get the electrical panel off the ship?
Yes, it's installed. The
Yeah.
new pump station has actually been operational since October 12th. We are having some little technical glitches, I'll call them, here and there, and we won't let the contractor decommission and start tearing out the old station until we have resolved all those issues. I'm
Curious.
It's normal startup
yes, it is.
stuff. Does anyone else have any questions for Mark? Thank you, Mark. Very good report. Okay, item number 2 is, we've discussed this a little bit. Oh, you're going to stay up there for this one?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I actually have a presentation for this one, President Newton.
Okay,
Is there a way you can pull that up for me?
Yes.
And we'll work on this light bulb somehow. I'm finding out that it's harder to remove a bulb these days because there's special light bulbs.
well,
believe
there's
it or
scotch
not.
tape in the other room.
We'll take care of that. Anyway, the district has a sewer interconnection facility with the city of Newport Beach Sewer, and I'll get into more detail in just a second. And the reason for that interconnect is they take our sewage from a particular area and they transport that sewage from the district over to Orange County Sanitation. Now, that being said, the city of Newport Beach has a project to install some ADA compliant curb returns and some work over by Huntington Harbor High School, Newport Harbor High School. And as per our agreement with the city of Newport Beach, the relocation costs in order to move our manhole out of their sidewalk is on us. It's our responsibility. Next slide, please. What you're seeing is an overview of well, let me show you. This yellow line, this yellow line right here, our sewage goes east along 15th Street. It hits our manhole right in the middle of that corner, and it takes a slight angle and goes into a city of Newport Beach manhole. And then that wastewater from Newport Beach is going back west, and I'm not sure where they make their connection to Orange County Sanitation, but our sewage makes a U-turn, joins their sewage, and goes off to the sanitation district. In July of 21, this past July, the city Assistant City Engineer Mike Sinacori contacted us and was saying that they're doing this large project, and in fact, since then, it's already been bid, and they're anxiously waiting to start their project work. But he had proposed that we relocate the manhole from their corner. And what do you want? And what he wants to do is relocate extend our sewer pipe from this manhole location straight out into the intersection and then run a new pipe into their existing manhole. We've been discussing this alternative off and on. And when after speaking with our general manager, it turns out we don't have the budget this year to affect this project, which we're responsible for paying for. The city is saying that they have this project that must move forward. There's certain timeframes somehow they're trying to meet. And one of them is trying to get the work done while the school is out of session. With the yes, Director Perry.
Newport Harbor, the green grass.
Yes, to give you, sorry about that. I guess I should give you an orientation.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Irvine runs essentially or almost north and south. And there might be a slight cant to the east. And then 15th Street runs essentially east and west. And then the Newport Harbor High School is in this intersection or this northeasterly corner of the intersection. And every time I've been out there, there are absolutely, it's a madhouse with cars and parents and kids, I would say high school kids crossing the street. I mean, it's an actual madhouse out there. And I understand why the city, one, is anxious to do all this project work while session is out, because I'll tell you what, even at 7 o'clock this morning, 6:30 when I was out there, it's amazing how many vehicles are going through this intersection. Continuing on, one of the things that when I understand we don't have budget to allocate to this project, I came up with an option, which was instead of extending the sewer into the intersection and running a new pipe, which would require horrendous traffic control, because now you're impacting Irvine as well as 15th, and we'd have to do it in stages. I met a third time with the assistant city engineer, and I proposed a simple solution. Can we add another manhole in our pipe, add a manhole in their pipe, and just relocate the whole interconnection to this location? It would actually improve the way the flow goes into their sewer, which probably isn't a big deal, but to us, it saves us money on building this project. It improves the safety for our sewer workers, because instead they have to clean, when they clean, they have to set up on this manhole. They push the nozzle in and drag anything out back to the downstream sewer. So we're blocking several directions in this particular intersection when they do cleaning. So from a sewer worker safety perspective, traffic safety, and just getting the work done in a more efficient manner, by relocating this interconnect from this location to this location, we help the city move their project along. It improves our safety, our efficiency, and the way we clean the sewers much sooner than if we were to wait. But that being said, that's it. We work at the description of the board, and we're happy to do how you would move this project forward or not. Next slide, please.
Before you move
Can I
on, Mark,
ask a
I'm
yeah. Go ahead.
gonna let you your turn go
Oh.
first.
Oh, thank you. Anyway, how does that affect us on our budget? I mean, can we go forward like we wanted to? or-
Good question. Can I come back and answer that question? I've got another slide on that.
Okay, okay.
Next slide, please.
Well,
Wait, we've got another.
Yeah.
I just.
I
if can-
defer to him.
I'm sitting here looking at that slide previous.
Can you go back, please? Sorry.
Why in the world who designed that? I mean, that,
There was no sidewalks back in
there were no
1944.
sidewalks back, but at some point where that second manhole is in the middle of the intersection,
Yeah.
it says 102. Where did it go? Where did the sewer go from there? Still backwards the other way?
You talk, well, City of Newport Beach, from the high school, the sewage comes in. From the easterly part of 15th, it comes in and everything goes down this direction. I'm gonna guess that the reason why we tied into this manhole, if it was an existing manhole and we needed to capture the wastewater from 601 Irvine.
Okay, what you're proposing makes complete sense. I mean, all those little triangles and all those little, even the city of Newport Beach alternative, that,
Echo.
what you're saying makes perfect sense to me. And that's the way it should have been. I'm just grappling with sewer making a U-turn. I mean, I understand, I guess. So it goes up 15th and then probably down to Coast Highway somewhere.
No, go down Dover to the Coast Highway.
Okay, so it goes all the way back to Dover. Oh, no, it goes the other way to,
That would be, well, I'm not sure if, I'm not sure which direction Dover is from here. So be
Dover's
honest with
right.
you,
Dover's
Dover's
to the right.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where this goes. It could end up going over towards Newport Boulevard and Superior maybe.
that's.
And maybe it goes into that system over
Okay,
there.
that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay,
And that's,
but-
and please go on. I'm looking at the thing and I'm thinking,
Why does
how
the
did
waste,
engineer figured that out?
well, why does the wastewater make a U-turn is your question? And why did they put it here? My guess is when they installed this segment of pipe and they knew they wanted to tie into that existing system, I'm guessing maybe they wanted to save the price of a manhole.
Gotcha.
But that's only a guess on my part.
I think that's a good guess.
Next slide, please.
Wait,
Yes.
Sorry, while we're on this slide,
Yes.
first, yes, please do not make my or my wife's life a living hell by doing this during school hours. So
We are,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, not
I
only-
take
yeah.
my life into my hands all the time going through
but
this.
so you know what I'm talking about by it's a madhouse there in the morning.
And I'm dealing with a freshman daughter on top of all of it, so I don't need any more stress. But and on your much cleaner solution, how did Cinecori agree to this?
Yeah, Mike, after I explained to Mike that this would save us money, but also have lesser impact on Irvine, he's also his number one item is traffic. And so if you could reduce impacts on traffic, he's all for it. So when he saw this proposed solution, he basically jumped all over it. And that's really does reduce our costs.
I think you should earn a bonus for convincing Cinecori that the easy solution is. I hope Cinecori is watching because
So let's just,
I say
let's
hello.
just wait till see if this item passes first. How's that?
Mike.
Yes, sir.
The lateral from the school, it doesn't show that there's a manhole there.
Yeah, and I'm thinking their 10-inch pipe is probably like our 8-inch pipes where the city probably accepts just connections to their.
Is the yellow pipe bigger than a 10-inch?
No, it's an 8-inch. Our pipe is 8-inch, their pipe is 10-inch.
But I mean, why can't it just be like a lateral connection and not a manhole?
Because to clean our pipe, we want a manhole to access that and jet that pipe.
All right.
Wow.
Okay, you want to go on with your presentation?
Slide, please.
I think so.
But it only gets better.
Oh,
No,
hey.
this is a picture of Newport Harbor High School. And this curb is all going to get removed. They're probably going to go out in the street a little bit because it really does need, when I was walking it with the assistant city engineer, this whole is very deficient and it doesn't meet any code that we could tell. So it does need to be changed. And just to give you a perspective, we have to go out in the middle of the intersection and we have to be strategic of when we do that because as Director Eccles attested to, it gets pretty crazy out there with vehicles. So think of our Vector truck parked out there trying to clean that. So there's several reasons besides the city reasons. I think it's good for us to implement this because then this thing gets completely moved away from the intersection to probably about right here if this photo was extended, and then we can hike our truck or park it so that we have basically minimal impact on Irvine Avenue. Next slide. This is just another perspective where we want to put one manhole right about here. Our consultant and I, we need to sit down and figure out this power pole or this utility pole, figure that out. Where can we how far away do we need to be to minimize the impact of that? And then we'll build a manhole here, and we think we can do it rather quickly. So this is just another perspective. We believe about 30, I want to say 30 feet from this manhole is where their lateral comes in for this serving property. So we just need to wiggle that new manhole between that lateral and this power pole.
Is that a driveway?
Yes, it is.
Is that going to be a problem?
No. And if we remove any of this driveway, we'll have to rebuild it. But we're talking to the assistant city engineer to see if they can help pour this or possibly pour this with their project. So if they're blowing all this out and doing concrete, I can't remember. The Mike Sinacor mentioned they're going to be going in here anyway. So he'd like us to come in, and then he wants to come in right behind us. And so we might be able to save the cost of concrete, or if we have to modify this driveway and bring it up to current ADA standards, maybe they'll pay for the concrete on that. Next slide, please. Let's talk money. As all projects, they all cost money. Because it's something that popped up, I haven't had a chance to do a lot of homework, a lot of utility studies. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. I think the project could cost anywhere from about $90,000 to $110,000. I've been talking to RBH and Associates. I suspect they're going to request somewhere about $8,500, maybe $9,000 to do the work based on their traditional pricing for inspection, contract administration, and other things. Although it's a smaller project, I think it's going to be about $12,000 more or less. And I did make a mistake in the agenda report item. I had said 20% contingency, it's more like 9%. And that's how I came up with the $145,000. Now, we did not have this money budgeted. And when Caitlin came into my office and was talking to me about the reappropriations, I being unfamiliar with our agency, I had asked if there was any opportunity to move that extra money from Eldon AirVac Force Main project, if we could move that and move this project forward. Again, it would be a big benefit to the city of Newport Beach, but the secondary benefits would be all to us. And having this extra money, newfound money, at least to me, it's newfound money. I thought it would be best to go forward with this project now and try to appropriate funds for next fiscal year. And, the city was even, I guess, to the point where they're saying they want to do some work there and they would charge us. So we were kind of playing back and forth with some of that stuff too. But I'd rather I think we can install this faster and cheaper than they can, especially based on their option. Any questions on the prices or the cost estimates or anything like that?
Just asking for our approval tonight.
I will, yes. Before I move on,
Just a question on, the agreement with Newport for this initial thing. What does that entail, or what does that look like? What agreement?
I don't remember the date, but it's old. It's an old agreement. And I think rather than us build a sewer over to OC Sanitation, I think, and I don't know which district engineer, whether it was Rob Hamers, I'm going to guess it might have been him. He decided that it would be smart to tie into the city of Newport Beach system and use their system to transport our sewage. And I don't believe, Scott, do you recall if they charge us for that annual? Do they annually charge us for that service? No, okay. So I guess right now we're getting a good deal and just dumping that into their system. But unfortunately, one of the caveats was if they ever needed utility relocations, that cost would be on us. But I could come back next month and brief you on the date of that agreement.
So
But it's old. It is very old.
Got it. So just if we didn't approve this project tonight, other than me laughing at Sinacori, but What does Newport, I mean, I assume they could go then do it themselves and bill us. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is my understanding based on chatting with Mike Sinacori. Yes. That's my understanding.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Next slide, please. And I didn't realize I could do that with my slides.
That is from the atmospheric river.
I think so. I guess I am recommending tonight that you approve new project number 340 to relocate the city of Newport Beach 15th Street Sewer Interconnection Project and create a new project. And Scott, do I need to add anything on budget?
I'll move for approval. It's a great project.
Do I have a second?
I'll second with a comment. The motions to approve the project at 145, correct? And that would be funded by the prior approval we gave through the Eldon encumbrance
Yeah.
from Eldon, correct? So it's fully funded.
Yes, we have 200 and some odd $1,000 that we did not use on the Eldon Force Main project.
Okay,
And we're reallocating it to here.
perfect. All right, I'll second. Yep.
Actually, when Director Eccles made the second, his voice was just like Mark. And I thought Mark had made the second.
There you go.
Bob,
I motion you give me a bonus. How's that?
I only have one vote so far. A quick Mark question.
Sorry, guys.
So if we're approving project 340, are we approving your version of 340 or Newport's version?
I'm asking you to approve my version of this project.
Which is the more.
Yes, the little 2 manholes and a small section of pipe in 15th.
Just out of curiosity, that big yellow line that goes out in the middle of the intersection, we just cap that off and stays there until someone digs up the street and says, what
Yes.
the hell is this pipe doing here?
Yeah, we basically we will have to, as part of this project, enter the manhole in the intersection. So we'll probably do that at night. And we will grout or cement in that end.
Yeah.
After we've made the, I'll say bypass or the new interconnection, we will plug that line temporarily, remove the interfering portion, fill that with, we'll put a concrete cap there, and then we will basically have the new line in service. And we abandon that existing line in place. And you're right. If somebody needs that space, they can just go in there with a backhoe and tear it out for us.
Well, I appreciate you taking the innovative approach. Like I said, whenever it was, doing what you proposed, even my simple brain can bring that. I mean, this one going here and this one going here. I mean, I can just see how that sewer fighting with each other. You know, what you're saying is clean and simple. So thank you for taking that innovative approach.
You're welcome. And in all fairness, I'm guessing that since the city's I think the city either forgot about us or when they were working on their project, they just didn't even think about why that manhole was there. And so I think we were an afterthought. And so Mike now is in such a hurry and he's panicking to get some alternative done. I think he just threw that out and he brought that to us.
My suspicion is that sewage comes in high, falls down.
I would hope that.
It doesn't go.
U-turns and sewage, yeah.
Yeah. And then this will be a hot discussion at the Sinacori Brothers Thanksgiving dinner. They're all civil engineers.
I'm calling him later.
Yeah, just like the Uten family. There's a couple of civil engineers in that family too.
And my wife does not allow us to talk at special occasions. Okay, do we have a motion? Did someone
Make the motion. We have a second.
I
Someone
second
say
it.
a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Smart.
Good job.
You're welcome.
And don't think you can do this in future without a very thorough report. Okay, we'll go on to treasurer's reports. Mark,
Mr. President, board members.
Caitlin,
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
I had some microphone problems earlier, so I had to dial in, and so I'm on phone instead of through computer. Anyway, this is your quarterly review of the investment portfolio. Looking at markets today, the Dow closed at about 35,741, which is up 64 on the day, and that's up 51.35 on the year, or 17%. Inflation is running at about 5.4% right now, and that's about well over the Fed's target of 2%, where they were going to start easing their stimulus back into the economy. The Fed has been, over the last many months, pumping about $120 billion per month into the economy and buying treasuries and buying government agency securities. And it's actually impacted us a little bit when we have investments that have been called, or trying to place new investments, where we have, in diversifying our federal agency securities, we would buy some Fannie Mae bonds and Freddie Mac bonds, and they just don't exist out there because the Fed's been buying those up over the last many, many months. The Fed has indicated that they are probably going to start tapering off their purchase program over the next many months, to where maybe by the middle of next summer they would not be buying any more mortgage-backed securities, and that would probably be the point in time that they would start looking to raise rates, unless that something happens between now and then. They're really looking at maybe raising the Fed funds rate to about 0.25% by the end of 2022, and then up to 1% by the end of 2023, and then probably 1.75% by the end of 2024. So I think we're going to start seeing those increases come in. What that will do to us is, as we have the ability to be able to buy new securities, our interest that we will earn on those new securities is likewise going to go up, but it will make all of our existing holdings go underwater. We'll probably not see many. We have a lot of bonds that are callable bonds. We probably won't see any of those calls coming in as rates start to go up. Your portfolio at September 30th was earning 0.632%. That's up from the prior month, which was earning 0.604%. Your duration is 2.83 years compared to the prior month. We went out a little bit longer. We were sitting at 2.59 years as of August 31. There was a fair amount of activity during the month of September. We had one negotiable CD matured. It was earning 1%. We had one Federal Home Loan Bank bond that was called. It was earning 1.05%. And then we did make 4 purchases, 3 negotiable certificates of deposit, and 1 Federal Home Loan Bank. Interest rates ranging from 0.4% to 1.05% out on a 5-year negotiable certificate of deposit. That's really all I have for this month's look at your portfolio. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
any questions on the board? Thank you, Mark.
This is
we
an
have-
action
we-
item, so we'll need action.
It is an action item, yes.
I'll move the investment report, the quarterly investment report for the month of September.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. I'll go on to attorney's reports. Consider adopting resolution number 2021-947, authorizing report meetings. This is something that we have to do monthly, so it's routine. Do any of the board members have any questions?
Just real quick, Colin, so the governor has said to us, here's the regulations, you have to approve it monthly, right?
Correct. Well, this was the legislature adopting a bill, the governor signing it. But yes,
Yeah, okay. What if we said, no, we don't want to do this?
we would need to go back to our general teleconferencing that was before the Brown Act that requires teleconferencing locations to allow a person to be physically present to participate.
And to put up an agenda and do all that other stuff? Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Question, does this end in December 31st? Or does it carry on for next year?
No, it carries on.
Does it? Okay.
My understanding, it carries on until 2024.
Oh,
And
really?
I didn't realize. I thought it was just till the end of the year, but so for that long?
My understanding, the amendment to the Brown Act, which just happened on September the 30th, has a provision that says it's effective until 2024.
So they're not optimistic about COVID dissipating and disappearing. I mean, they're big, I assume they're being realistic and trying to play it out, but that's
That's
amazing.
we have a choice, so. if
You know, I understand. Yeah, I understand.
If COVID goes away, we can either continue this process.
Yeah, we have the choice every month. So we have to do this every month.
That's correct. That is a little cumbersome.
We have to adopt a resolution.
Yeah, I'll move adoption.
I'll second it.
If I could make one amendment to the resolution, I apologize. Section 5, effective date, the October should be changed to November. Effective until November.
Okay, okay.
Then I'll again amend my motion to include the fact that it's adopted on the 25th of October to extend to November 25th, 2020.
And I'll second that.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Colin. We'll go on to local meetings. I've written a detailed description of the Orange County Sand District meetings. And basically, I attended the operations committee and that I'm assigned to. The board meeting is next Wednesday. There was a GWS committee that I'm assigned to over there. They're in the middle of their second phase of that GWS expansion. It'll take the water flow, the potable water that they generate from that system up to 134 MGD, which basically is enough potable water for about 1 million people. That project won a Nobel Prize. Neither the general managers that conceived the project were around to go to Stockholm and receive it, which is a big deal.
Would one of those be you?
No, it's my boss, Blake Anderson and Bill Mills.
When are they going to receive it? What, soon?
Pardon?
When are they going to Stockholm?
Oh, they've already done
Oh, they did
it. The first phase of won the Nobel Prize. I always want to say Nobel Peace Prize, but it's Nobel Prize. And we got to see a video of the thing, and it's a big deal to get one of those prizes. I'll be attending ISDOC probably this Thursday. Most of the other meetings, I think the board is aware of. Waco is the only other meeting would be Waco. I attended that meeting, and that was an explanation of the big issues that are affecting the water supply in California. Number one is, well, there was a triangle, probably not numbered, but it's climate change, sustainable groundwater. With the decrease in rainfall, many more people are, like big farmers are getting down to where they can get water out of the ground and basically taking the water away from the shallower wells. So there's legislature concerning that, and each county, I think, has to have a groundwater management plan. And then, of course, the ecosystem, which is the Delta. I was amazed to hear that the vulnerable species in California vastly outnumber the list of endangered ones, which is a very old list. So, and you've all heard a lot about that with the discussions about water from north.
The interesting, if you watched 60 Minutes last night, They did a report on, did you see that?
Mhm.
And how the tribal nations, I guess, were entitled originally to like, I'm, I'm gonna get the numbers wrong, but I think it was 25% of the Colorado River water. And they never asked for it. The tribal nations never asked for it. Well, the lady who's in charge of the tribal council or whatever they call it said that those days are over last night. The tribal nations are gonna start demanding their 25% out of the Colorado.
Yep.
Which is, I don't think it's gonna hurt California, but Arizona and Utah are probably gonna get hit big time. So,
Do any of the other directors have meetings they need to report on?
There's no Santa Ana River Flood Protection Agency meeting this month.
I do. Okay. Okay. On September 22nd, Costa Mesa Sanitary District attended the conference up in Monterey. And the mayor of Monterey came and welcomed us. Now, this part I have to say, because it has to be documented, because I was on the committee that got these four awards. And I just want to say what I have to say. Okay, anyway, so the staff members, we received 4 awards, which we all know. And the staff member of the year, of course, went to Gina, our staff member, and she's a management analysis too. So the second one was Innovative Project of the Year, and that was implementing a sewer manhole cover condensation project. That was actually 3 was the district distinction one, and that was accreditation of the platinum. And the reason why we still got the platinum, even though, you know, we're waiting for Brett to go and get another certificate for us, is because the good part is that it's not the end of the year, and so we're still in there for having the 5 of us. So that was good. And then number 4 was a transparency certificate of excellence. And of course, naturally, we were also very proud of our staff and everybody who participated in getting this for us. And the reason why I would like to declare that I sat on this committee that judged all of California, and all these awards were given to the best in all of California. So that's quite an honor for us to get 4 awards like that. And I had a conflict of interest, and so I abstained from the 4. And other than that, I sat on the committee. And then also I attended, let's see what else, the shelter, the homeless shelter that we had actually been involved with. And then I attended the city council meeting where we got an award for helping out on caring about the city of Costa Mesa. And then I attended the study session. I also attended the director, Brett and I, and general manager on a 1-to-1. And Sacramento, let's see. Oh, and then in 22, 23 of September, I attended the Sacramento for a couple of meetings that I sit on the board with. And we CSDA signed a 5-year lease with SDRMA, which was very exciting because SDRMA is in the same building but upstairs, and we're having the offices below them. And they participate with us, and it's such a good blend of us being a partner with them. And so this 5 years is important to all of us because they, even at our conferences, they're a part of us. they do workshops, they do webinars, and it's a good blend of us, and we get along at both boards. There's no problem. So I just wanted to say that, and that's it.
Any other directors need to report on meetings?
I'll turn mine in writing, so things I attended.
Thank you. I'll go on to old business. Do we have any old business that we need to discuss? Any new business? Hearing none. Do any of the directors have any oral communications or directors' comments?
I just wanted to say, if you can come to the ISDOC meeting, it is important because the information that you're going to get from these attorneys will assist in what our future and the laws that are blending into us.
That's this Thursday at 11:30?
Yes, this
Is it
Thursday,
an in-person meeting?
No.
and it's actually a Zoom.
I like going to the in-person meeting because you get fed.
Well, we can't do it, we can't do it in person until, let's see, until we're doing the same thing like here, you know, trying to do all
Okay,
the
okay.
construction.
Mr. President, I got a couple of comments for all those sports fans out there, which I think we have a few. But on the other side of town, the Battle of the Bay occurred last Friday, and I'm torn, conflicted, but my alma mater.
Notre Dame Mark kicked their tail. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
that's my alma mater, and I was surprised to see another number 43 out there because I thought they retired my number years ago, but apparently they didn't. But my point in bringing that up, because I've also got all my kids go to Harbor, so it's a weird house. But it was so cool after the COVID time we've had to see the entire state. It was sold out. It was so much fun to see kids and parents and alumni in Harbor celebrated their birthday essentially. And it was a neat experience to see a little bit of normalcy back in our community again. And that brings out same thing with Estancia and Mesa and in their battle and all that. It's great to see. And then one last thing for any soccer fans, but I'm sure you've all heard of the Pilot Cup, that is the soccer tournament that's gone on with all the the elementary schools. It's in its 21st, 22nd something year. And due to COVID, it's been postponed. And as someone who used to run AYSO, I've gotten so many calls about, you guys got to do it. You guys got to do it. Well, the LA Times backed out. Costa Mesa United is going to take back the tournament. And I had a meeting with the city of Costa Mesa last week, and they are approving it, assuming we don't go backwards. But this spring, we will have the Pilot Cup back. And so for all and you want to talk about crazy, that is, so avoid Costa Mesa High School if you don't want to see insanity. But it's a great event for the community. So I'm just excited to, again, see some normalcy for our kids and the community as a whole. So thank you. All right.
A couple of quick things. This sandbagging station over at the yard, I'm really glad to see us do that. I think that's a great service. City hasn't announced anything about sandbagging that I know of. They usually do it at their corporate yard, but kudos to you guys for doing that. I think that's a great community gesture.
Did that start today?
Was it today? Yeah.
Okay, good.
I got a text from a resident last week that I wanted to pass on to you, Scott. He said, you guys need to turn the sprinklers on at headquarters. Your lawn looks terrible. And I texted him back and I said, well, give it some time. I didn't go into full details, but I'm sure we'll hear others. And then my final comment, last Friday, we had the city district liaison meeting. And I wish I could impart to the other agencies, not necessarily Mesa Water, but to the city and the school district. Those meetings aren't intended to be, here's what we're doing and, give us kudos for having a bike-a-thon or walking to school. I wish we could get back to when we had those years ago, they were informative and
Yeah.
things that are being done that affect the different agencies. Remember, I mean, they've moved away from this and it's become either a gripe session or, here's what we've done. We can read that. We see their press releases. So I don't know how we get back to that. Well, it's got to come from the elected officials. I think those of us that go to those need to talk to the school board members primarily.
I'd like to hear some suggestions.
I would.
But that, yeah, please do. Don't have the meetings. I know that's.
No, I think the city and the school districts always had that type of relationship. And in any community that I've worked for, the city and the school districts always have a close relationship, and they need to have that close relationship. And I believe they were meeting together prior to the liaison committee. My suggestion is they continue that and just have the meeting between Mesa Water, the city, and us.
Yeah.
And not the school district?
Yeah.
And I, as a follow-up to that, and they do, because I chair another organization that's trying to facilitate that, Newport Mesa and city to have their own, they have so many things going on. And yes, I agree with you, because you get a bunch of people elected, stump speeches at these meetings. It's like, come on, guys, the campaign, like, relax. Let's get to the stuff that affects the agencies.
I wanted to say something. on it. Years ago, I started that committee.
Thanks,
And-
Arlene.
No, you have to understand. The reason why, if, say, some agency dug up a street and we wait till they're done and fix it over, that our budget is affected. And so it's a way that we can help each other.
Right.
This is the meaning. I think we've lost the meaning because we're actually talking to each other on subjects that we shouldn't. We have like down pat, like the city has what, this is, we're passing out these papers, saving time to talk. And, there are certain people there that do not pass out papers or they want to discuss everything and they have something to say on each one and they laugh about it, oh, it's me again, and that's the problem. I think we're going to host the next one. And what
Another
we
suggestion is
do,
that we tell each agency limit to 3 items.
That would be better
Ooh,
because.
yeah, I like that idea, Scott.
Limit to 3 items, because there was way too many items from the city and school districts.
Because we only had 2 and Mesa Water had only
Yeah,
2.
Yeah, Mesa had 1.
Yeah, Mesa Water had
We
one.
had 3. We originally had 3, then they combined one of ours with 13E3.
Right.
But I would say maybe we're the host next agency. Maybe we make a recommendation, no more than 3 items.
I think that's smarter than trying to eliminate them.
Yeah.
I think they should stay because we have gotten some good things from them.
Sure. So maybe we'll make that suggestion when we're the host. Limit to 3
That
items.
would be smarter. 3 major things.
One last thing, at least for me, I was on the MODOC website today, Scott, and there's information on there about rebates for the
Okay.
landscaping project. I would hope you go through them and maybe the fellow I used to work with over there is named Joe Berg. I hope he's still there, and he's very big on facilitating, these kinds of projects. And Mesa may well do it, but I think you'll get more information and more enthusiasm from
did you watch the last
by dealing with both of them.
Bob, to follow up on that, did Costa Mesa Water or Mesa Water send you the information to contact him, MODOC? Because you remember you were going to get that from Costa or Mesa Water?
There's one.
From my understanding, Paul Schoenberg, the general manager at Mesa Water, just says, he just told me to reference our architect to him, which I did. I contacted our architect and said, hey, when you're ready to look for those grants, contact Paul Schoenberg, and I gave him his email.
Because I brought up the question about the public use, for those grants. And I was thinking we could, if we had that information, the contact information. I mean, we could have that in a newsletter or something. Just a possibility.
Okay, I didn't start the meeting, but we're going to end it.
All right.
Thanks.
You started it.
Thank you all for due diligence.
Me too. I did.
You know, can I leave my